The knife missed Zara's throat by inches. She felt the blade whisper past her skin, heard it embed itself in the wall behind her with a sick thunk. Her heart slammed against her ribs as she pressed herself against the cold concrete, breath coming in sharp gasps. "Wrong place, wrong time, American," a voice said in accented English. A man stepped from the shadows of the Soul Alley, his face obscured but his intent crystal clear. "You should have stayed away from Kim Tae-jin." Zara's mind raced. She was a physical therapist, not a fighter. She'd come to South Korea for a job, not a death sentence. But here she was, pinned in an alley at 11 p.m. with a stranger who apparently wanted her dead. "I don't know what you're talking about," she managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'm just a therapist. I treat injuries, that's all." "That's the problem." He moved closer, and she saw the glint of another blade. "You're healing the wrong person." Before he could strike, a gunshot cracked through the night. The man stumbled, clutching his shoulder, his weapon clattering to the pavement. Behind him stood another figure, tall and imposing, holding a pistol with professional ease. Before we continue, please hit that like button and subscribe. It truly helps us grow and create more stories like this for you. Your support means everything to this channel. "Get in the car now." The voice was deep, commanding, unmistakably Korean. "Unless you want to die in this alley." Zara didn't need to be told twice. She ran. 3 hours earlier, everything had been different, simpler, normal. Zara had stood in the lobby of Genesis Medical Center, adjusting the strap of her therapy bag and trying to ignore the butterflies in her stomach. 7 years as a licensed physical therapist, and she'd never been this nervous about meeting a client. But then again, she'd never been hired by a family like the Kims. The elevator ride to the private floor was silent, except for the soft hum of machinery. The security guard who'd escorted her from the lobby, a man named Day, with eyes that missed nothing, stood beside her with military posture. "Miss Zara, Mr. Kim doesn't like new people. He especially doesn't like doctors or therapists. His mother hired you without consulting him, so be prepared for resistance." "I've handled difficult patients before," Zara replied, though her confidence wavered slightly. "Not like him." Day's expression was unreadable. "Mr. Kim Tae-jin is complicated." The hallway beyond was pristine, almost sterile. Not a single person in sight except for another security guard stationed outside a door at the far end. As they approached, a younger man emerged from an adjacent room, his smile practiced and charming. "You must be the miracle worker my mother hired. I'm Jae-sung, the diplomatic brother. Tae-jin's inside, probably brooding. Fair warning, he's refused every therapist we've brought in for the past 2 years." Zara shook his hand firmly. "Then I guess I'll be the first one he doesn't refuse." Jae-sung's eyebrows rose with interest. "I like you already. But seriously, don't take it personally if he throws you out. Our brother has been through a lot." "What happened to him?" Zara asked. "That's his story to tell." Jae-sung stepped aside. "Good luck. You're going to need it." The room beyond was dark, heavy curtains blocking out the afternoon sunlight. Zara could make out a figure standing at the window, hands clasped behind his back, shoulders rigid with tension. "Mr. Kim," Zara said, keeping her voice professional but warm, "I'm Zara Thompson. Your mother hired me to help with your rehabilitation." "I know why you're here." His voice was cold, controlled, deadly quiet. "And I'm telling you to leave. Save us both the time and disappointment." "I flew 8,000 miles to help you," Zara countered, setting down her bag with deliberate calm. "The least you can do is look at me when you're dismissing me." The silence that followed was heavy, dangerous. Then slowly he turned. Zara's breath caught despite her professional training. Kim Tae-jin was devastatingly handsome in a way that seemed almost cruel. Tall, easily 6 feet, with broad shoulders and a presence that filled the room. His face was all sharp angles and perfect symmetry, the kind of beauty that would stop traffic anywhere in the world. Dark hair fell slightly into eyes that were currently fixed on her with predatory intensity. Intricate tattoos curved up his neck, disappearing beneath his black shirt, marking him as someone dangerous. But it wasn't his looks that made her pause. It was the emptiness in those eyes, the carefully constructed wall that screamed of someone who'd given up on something fundamental. "You've looked. Now leave." "No." Zara crossed her arms. "I don't care if you're rich, powerful, or used to everyone obeying your every command. I'm here because I'm good at my job, and your mother believes I can help you. Your nerve damage doesn't have to be permanent." Something flickered behind his eyes. Anger, maybe, or surprise. "You don't know what you're talking about," his voice shaking slightly. Zara pulled out her tablet, scrolling through the medical files his mother had provided. "I know you've had 4 surgeries in 3 years. I know 15 different specialists have tried and failed to restore full sensation. I know you're standing in the dark because you've convinced yourself you're broken beyond repair. Well, Mr. Kim, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong." His jaw tightened. "You're arrogant." "I'm confident. There's a difference." Zara took a step closer. "1 session. Give me 1 hour of your time. If I can't show you measurable progress, I'll leave and never come back. But if I can, then you owe me an apology and your full cooperation." Tae-jin studied her for what felt like an eternity. Zara forced herself to hold his gaze, to not look away from the intensity burning there. Finally, he moved to a door at the far end of the room. "1 session. Then you leave." The therapy room was equipped with state-of-the-art equipment that must have cost a fortune. Zara began setting up, while Tae-jin stood against the wall, watching her with that same unnerving focus. "I need you on the table," Zara said, pulling out her tools. "I don't take orders." "You do in this room, unless you'd rather stay broken." The word hung between them like a thrown gauntlet. His expression darkened, but he moved to the table, unbuttoning his shirt with deliberate slowness. The tattoos he'd glimpsed earlier covered his torso, intricate designs that spoke of wealth and power. Scars crisscrossed his abdomen, evidence of the accident and surgeries that had stolen his sensation. Zara kept her composure firmly in place, despite the way her pulse quickened. She'd treated attractive patients before, but something about Tae-jin set her nerves on edge. Not fear exactly, but awareness. Dangerous awareness. "I'm going to start with your lower back," she said, warming oil between her palms. "This might be uncomfortable at first." "Everything is uncomfortable," he muttered. Zara placed her hands on his lower back. His entire body went rigid under her touch, muscles locked tight with years of tension. Zara worked slowly, carefully, finding pressure points with practiced precision. "You need to breathe," Zara murmured. "Tension makes nerve response worse." "Hard to relax when a stranger has their hands on you." "I'm not a stranger. I'm your therapist." Zara pressed deeper into a particularly tight knot along his spine. "When's the last time anyone touched you? And I don't mean doctors. I mean really touched you." The silence was answer enough. They continued in quiet, broken only by the soft sounds of her movements and his carefully controlled breathing. Zara lost herself in the familiar rhythm of her work, feeling for tension, releasing it methodically. But she couldn't ignore the heat spreading through her palms, the way his body slowly, grudgingly began to respond to her touch. After 45 minutes, something shifted. Tae-jin suddenly sat up, his expression caught between wonder and confusion. "What is it?" Zara asked, concerned. "Did I hurt you?" He didn't answer immediately. Then he flexed his hands, testing them like they were foreign objects. "I felt something just now, a tingling sensation." His voice was rough with emotion. "That hasn't happened in 3 years." Triumph surged through Zara's chest, but she kept her voice calm and professional. "It's a start. The nerve pathways are responding to stimulation. With consistent treatment, we can rebuild those connections. He looked at her then, really looked at her, and something in his expression cracked. I'm sorry for being difficult earlier. You were right. Same time tomorrow? Zara asked, already knowing his answer. What if nothing else changes? The vulnerability in his voice nearly broke her composure. She met his eyes directly. What if everything does? That's what you're really afraid of, isn't it? Not staying broken, but healing. Because healing means feeling again, and feeling means being vulnerable. He didn't answer, but the look in his eyes told her she'd struck a nerve deeper than any physical one. Zara left the medical center feeling oddly shaken. She'd treated powerful men before, celebrities and executives, but Kim Tae-jin was different. Dangerous in a way that had nothing to do with his reputation and everything to do with the way he looked at her. Like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve, but desperately wanted to. Her apartment in Itaewon was small but comfortable, a sublet from another American therapist who'd returned to the States. Zara collapsed onto her couch and video called her best friend back in California. So, Maya's voice came through bright and curious. How was the mysterious client? Please tell me he's not some creepy old man. Complicated, Zara said carefully. He's got severe nerve damage from an accident 3 years ago, complete loss of sensation in certain areas. But Maya, there was this moment today when he felt something change, like his body remembering what it used to do. And what's he like? Nice? Mean? Gorgeous? Zara's pause was too long. Oh my God, he's gorgeous, Maya crowed. I can hear it in your voice. Stop. He's my client. His looks don't matter. But he is gorgeous. Devastatingly, Zara admitted with a groan. Cold and closed off and clearly dealing with some serious psychological trauma beyond the physical. But Maya, I'm here to do a job, not develop some ridiculous crush. Too late, you already have one. They talked for another 20 minutes before Zara finally hung up. She knew Maya wasn't wrong, but acknowledging it felt dangerous. She'd worked with attractive clients before without issue. This would be no different, except it already was. That night, Zara couldn't stop thinking about the way Tae-jin's body had felt under her hands, the heat of his skin, the tension slowly melting away. She fell asleep with his face in her mind, those dark eyes watching her like she was something he wanted but couldn't have. She woke to her phone buzzing with a text from an unknown number. Same time tomorrow. Don't be late. T. Zara smiled despite herself. Progress already. But as she got ready for her morning run, something felt off. The street outside her apartment was too quiet. A black car sat parked across the road, windows tinted, engine running. It had been there last night, too. Zara told herself she was being paranoid. This was Seoul, not some crime thriller. But the unease followed her throughout her run, a prickling awareness between her shoulder blades that said she was being watched. By the time she headed to Genesis Medical Center that afternoon, the black car was following her. Zara's hands tightened on her bag as she walked faster, ducking into the medical center's lobby with relief. Day was waiting by the elevators, his expression darker than yesterday. Miss Zara, has anyone approached you, asked questions about Mr. Kim or your work here? No, she said slowly. Why? Should I be worried? Day's jaw tightened. Just be careful and don't go anywhere alone after dark. Seoul can be dangerous for foreigners who get involved in the wrong business. Before Zara could ask what he meant, the elevator doors opened. Tae-jin was already in the therapy room, dressed in black athletic wear, standing by the window. He turned when she entered, and this time there was something different in his expression, less hostile, more curious. You came back, he said. I said I would. Zara set down her bag. How did you feel after yesterday? Different, not necessarily better, but different. He moved toward the table without being asked. Like something that was asleep is starting to wake up. Good. That means your nervous system is responding. She began setting up. Today we're going to work on your hip flexors and lower abdomen. The nerve pathways there connect to everything else. Something flickered in his eyes. That's more invasive. I'm a professional, Mr. Kim. I've done this hundreds of times. Zara kept her voice steady by the flutter in her stomach. But if you're uncomfortable, we can modify the approach. I'm not uncomfortable. He lay down, but she saw his hands fist at his sides. Do what you need to do. Zara warmed fresh oil, then placed her hands just above his hip bone. His stomach muscles contracted immediately under her touch. Breathe, she instructed softly. Tension defeats the purpose. Everything about this feels vulnerable, he said quietly. That's because it is. Her hands moved in slow, careful circles. Healing requires vulnerability. That's the scary part nobody talks about. You have to let your guard down to let someone help you. They fell into silence, but it was different from yesterday, charged somehow. Zara was acutely aware of every point of contact between her hands and his body, every breath he took, every tiny shift in his position. Why did you become a physical therapist? His voice startled her. My father had a stroke when I was 16. The therapist who worked with him was incredible, patient, kind, determined. She helped him walk again when everyone else said it was impossible. I wanted to be that person for someone else. Noble, practical. I like fixing things that seem broken. Am I a thing to fix? She met his eyes. You're a person who deserves to feel whole again. That's different. Something passed between them in that look, something that made Zara's hands falter for just a second before she forced herself back to professionalism. By the end of the session, Tae-jin sat up slowly, his expression unreadable. Tomorrow, he said. Not a question. Tomorrow, she confirmed. But as Zara left the medical center that evening, her phone buzzed with a text from the unknown number. Be careful, you're being watched. T. Her blood ran cold. Before she could respond, she felt it. Eyes on her, following her. The black car from this morning pulled up alongside her, windows down. Dr. Thompson, a word please. Zara's instincts screamed at her to run, but she was on a public street in broad daylight. What could happen? Everything, as it turned out. The man who stepped from the car was young, maybe late 20s, with hard eyes and an aggressive smile. You're the American treating Kim Tae-jin. I don't discuss my clients, Zara said firmly, trying to walk past him. He blocked her path. He's made himself weak letting a woman like you touch him. Some people think that's a problem. Some people think you should go back to America before something bad happens. The threat was unmistakable. Zara's heart hammered, but she kept her voice steady. Are you threatening me? Just offering friendly advice, his smile widened. Seoul can be dangerous for foreigners who don't know their place. He got back in the car and drove away, leaving Zara standing on the sidewalk with shaking hands and 1,000 questions. Who was Kim Tae-jin really? What had she walked into? And why helping him heal make her a target? She pulled out her phone to call someone, anyone. But who? The police? She didn't even speak Korean. Her supervisor back in California? What would she say? Zara was still trying to decide when a hand grabbed her arm from behind. She spun, ready to fight, and found herself face to face with Dae. You need to come with me urgently, he said. Mr. Kim wants to see you immediately, and we need to get you somewhere safe. Safe from what? Zara demanded, even as she let him guide her toward a different car, this one sleek and black with tinted windows. From the people who just threatened you, Dae said grimly. You've just become a target, Miss Zara, and in our world, targets don't last long. The car drove through Seoul in tense silence, taking turns that Zara didn't recognize, moving away from the familiar neighborhood she'd come to know. Da sat beside her, his phone pressed to his ear, speaking in rapid Korean that she couldn't follow. Where are we going? Zara finally asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Mr. Kim's private residence. It's more secure than the medical center. Da glanced at her, his expression softening slightly. I'm sorry you got caught up in this, Miss Zara, but once you started treating him, you became part of his world, whether you knew it or not. What world is that exactly? Zara's hands gripped her bag tightly. What aren't people telling me? Before Da could answer, they pulled into an underground garage beneath a gleaming high-rise in Gangnam. The elevator ride up was silent, but Zara's mind raced with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. The elevator opened directly into a penthouse that stole her breath. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered panoramic views of Seoul's glittering skyline. The decor was minimalist and expensive, all clean lines and dark colors that spoke of wealth and power. Tae-jin stood at those windows, hands in his pockets, every line of his body rigid with tension. He turned when the elevator opened, and Zara saw something in his expression she hadn't seen before. Fury. Cold, controlled, deadly fury. Tell me exactly what happened, he said without preamble, every word he said to you. Zara recounted the encounter, watching his expression grow darker with each sentence. When she finished, he pulled out his phone and made a call in Korean. His voice was low, dangerous, the kind of tone that promised violence. He hung up and finally looked at her. I'm sorry this happened. I should have anticipated it. Anticipated what? Someone threatening me? Why would anyone care that I'm treating you? What's really going on here? Tae-jin moved to the bar, poured whiskey with hands that trembled slightly. What do you know about my family, Zara? Your mother said you're in business. Import, export? Among other things. He downed the whiskey, poured another. My family controls significant territory in Seoul's underground economy. We're not traditional organized crime, but we're not entirely legitimate either. We broker deals, provide security, move products through channels others can't access. Zara felt the floor tilt beneath her feet. You're a crime boss. I prefer businessmen with flexible ethics. He smiled was bitter. But yes, essentially. And the threat you received is probably a rival faction, someone who thinks my involvement with you makes me vulnerable. So, by treating you, by getting close to you, I've become a target. Zara sank on the couch, her mind reeling with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. I should go back to California, right now, tonight. Probably. He still wouldn't look at her. That would be the smart thing, the safe thing. But I don't want you to go. Finally, he turned to face her, and the raw emotion in his eyes made her breath catch. Tae-jin, I'm falling for you, Zara. The words came out rough, honest. I've been falling for you since that first day when you refused to be intimidated. Every session, every conversation, every moment you touch me, I fall deeper. And I know it's fast, I know it's complicated, but I can't lie about it anymore. The confession hung between them like a live wire. You don't know that, Zara said, though her voice shook. It could be transference. Patients often develop feelings for their therapist during treatment. It's normal, and it passes. This won't pass. He moved closer, not touching, but near enough that she could feel his heat. I've had dozens of therapists over 3 years. I never felt anything for any of them. But you? From the moment you walked in and challenged me, I felt something wake up inside of me that I thought was dead. Tae-jin, I can't, Zara started, but her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out and felt ice flood her veins. Another text from an unknown number, this one with a photo attached. It was her walking into her apartment building yesterday. The message below read, "We know where you live. Leave Seoul or we'll make you leave permanently." Tae-jin took the phone from her shaking hands, his expression going arctic as he read the message. He made another call, his voice sharp and commanding. "You're staying here," he said when he hung up. "Your apartment isn't safe. I'm having your things brought over, and my security team will be stationed outside. No one gets to you without going through me first." "You can't just decide that," Zara protested weakly. "Watch me." His jaw was set. "These people don't make empty threats, Zara. If they say they'll hurt you, they mean it. I won't let that happen. Because you have feelings for me. Because I'm falling for you, Zara. He said it like a confession and a challenge, and I protect what's mine. Before Zara could respond, the elevator opened again. Ja-sung stepped out, his usual charming smile replaced with concern. Young, he said in Korean, then switched to English for Zara's benefit. We have a situation. The Lee family is claiming you're making moves on their territory by associating with an American. They're using Miss Zara as an excuse to challenge our boundaries. Then I'll make it clear she's under my protection, Tae-jin said coldly. Anyone who touches her answers to me personally. That might not be enough. Ja-sung ran his hand through his hair. They're pushing for a meeting, tomorrow night. They want to negotiate terms. There are no terms to negotiate. Zara stays, and she stays safe. That's not up for discussion. Zara watched this exchange with growing horror. Wait, are you saying I'm becoming a political problem? That people are using me as an excuse to start some kind of gang war? Both brothers looked at her, and she saw the truth in their expressions. I need to leave, Zara said, standing abruptly. This is insane. I came here to help you heal, not become a pawn in some territorial dispute. You leave and they win, Tae-jin said flatly. They get to dictate who I associate with, who I trust. That sets a precedent I can't afford. So I'm supposed to stay here and be a target, risk my life so you don't look weak? No. He closed the distance between them, his hands framing her face with devastating gentleness. You stay because I will do whatever it takes to keep you safe, because you matter to me more than territory or reputation or any of the bullshit politics of my world. Zara wanted to pull away, to maintain some distance, but looking into his eyes, seeing the desperation there, she found herself unable to move. This is crazy, she whispered. We barely know each other. I know you're brave and stubborn, and you see people, really see them, even when they're trying to hide. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. I know you gave up a comfortable life in California to take a risk on coming here. I know you didn't walk away when I tried to intimidate you, and you're not walking away now, even though you're terrified. How do you know I'm terrified? Because I'm terrified too. His forehead rested against hers. Terrified of what I feel, terrified something will happen to you, terrified you'll realize what I am and leave anyway. Ja-sung's cleared his throat awkwardly. I'll just give you 2 a minute, but Hyung, we need to make a decision about tomorrow night. I'll handle it, Tae-jin said without looking away from Zara. After Ja-sung left, silence stretched between them, heavy with everything unsaid. I need time to think, Zara finally said. This is happening too fast. The feelings, the danger, all of it. I need to figure out what I'm willing to risk. What if I told you I'd give it all up? Tae-jin's hands dropped from her face. The territory, the business, the power. We could go somewhere else, start over. I have legitimate investments that could support us. You'd do that? Walk away from your family, your life, everything you know? For you? Yes. The certainty in his voice shook her. But I don't know if I'd be enough without all of it, if you'd still want me if I was just an ordinary man. Zara thought about that, about the intensity that drew him to him, the danger that made her pulse race, the way he looked at her like she was the only solid thing in his world. I don't know either, she admitted, but I know I can't keep treating you if I have feelings for you. That's a line I can't cross professionally. Then I'm firing you as my therapist, his expression was resolute. Effective immediately. Find me another one, someone else to continue the treatment. But I need to know if there's a chance for us, if you feel even a fraction of what I feel. I feel it, Zara whispered. God help me, I feel it too. But Tae-jin, I'm scared. Of your world, of getting hurt, of falling for you and losing myself in the process. Then fall with me, he said softly, and we'll figure it out together. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at it and cursed in Korean. What is it? The meeting tomorrow night? The Lee family is demanding you attend. His jaw clenched. They want to meet the woman who's apparently caused so much trouble. Then I'll go, Zara said, surprising herself. If this is about me, I should be there. Absolutely not. These meetings can turn violent quickly. So you keep telling me, but I'm tired of being a problem everyone talks around. If they want to meet me, let them. Maybe I can diffuse this situation myself. Tae-jin looked at her like she'd grown a second head. You don't understand what you're suggesting. These people don't negotiate. They intimidate, threaten, hurt. I won't put you in that position. It's not your choice, Zara said firmly. This is my life being threatened. I deserve a say in how we handle it. Something shifted in his expression. Respect, maybe, or admiration. You're either very brave or very foolish. Probably both, she managed a shaky smile. But if I'm staying, if we're doing this, then I need to face your world head on, not hide from it. That night, Zara stayed in Tae-jin's guest room, though sleep was impossible. She kept thinking about the threats, the danger, the way Tae-jin had looked at her when he said he was falling in love. Around midnight, unable to stand the silence anymore, she ventured out of her room. She found Tae-jin on the terrace, looking out over Seoul's glittering skyline. Can't sleep either? He asked without turning around. Too much to process. Zara joined him at the railing. I keep thinking about how 3 days ago, my biggest worry was whether I'd brought enough warm clothes for a Korean winter. Now I'm hiding in a penthouse because crime lords are threatening to kill me. I'm sorry. His voice was rough. You deserved better than this. Better than me. Stop apologizing for who you are. Zara turned to face him. You didn't force me to come here. You didn't force me to develop feelings. Those were my choices. Were they? He finally looked at her. Or did I manipulate you into caring by being vulnerable, by letting you see parts of me no one else sees? Do you really think I'm that easy to manipulate? A ghost of a smile crossed his face. No, you're the most stubborn woman I've ever met. Good answer. Zara found herself moving closer. Tae-jin, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Tomorrow night, at this meeting, no matter what happens, don't do anything that will start a war. Don't sacrifice your position, your family's safety, not for me. Promise me. His eyes darkened. I can't promise that. If they threaten you, if they try to hurt you, then you let them, Zara said firmly, because my life isn't worth dozens or hundreds of others. Promise me you'll be smart about this, not emotional. I'm already emotional when it comes to you. His hand found hers. I've been emotional since the moment you walked into that therapy room and refused to be scared of me. I was terrified of you, but you didn't show it. You stood your ground. That's when I knew you were different. That's when I started falling. Zara knew she should step back, maintain some boundaries, but standing here in the moonlight with Seoul spread out below them, feeling the warmth of his hand in hers, she couldn't find the strength to pull away. What are we doing? She whispered. Something reckless. He cupped her face. Something that's probably going to hurt us both, but I don't know how to stop. Me neither. When they kissed, it was gentle and desperate at the same time, like he was trying to memorize her, to imprint this moment before everything fell apart. Zara melted into him, her hands gripping his shirt, kissing him back with all the fear and desire and confusion swirling inside her. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Tae-jin rested his forehead against hers. Stay tonight, he said softly. Not in the guest room, with me. Just sleeping if that's what you want, but I need you close. Zara knew all the reasons she should say no, but looking into his eyes, seeing the vulnerability there, she found herself nodding. Okay, but we're taking this slow. No matter how intense everything feels, we take it slow. As slow as you need, he promised. They fell asleep tangled together, and for a few hours, Zara let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, they could make this work. When she woke to her phone buzzing insistently, another video message from another unknown number. Her hands shook as she opened it. The video showed her apartment building, her exact unit number visible. Then the camera moved inside, showing her belongings, her personal items, intimate details of her life laid bare for whoever was watching. The message below read, "We can get to you anywhere. Tomorrow night, convince Kim Tae-jin to let you go, or we'll make sure neither of you survives." Zara's scream woke Tae-jin instantly. He grabbed the phone, watched the video, and his expression turned murderous. "That's it," he said, his voice deadly quiet. "These people just crossed a line they can't come back from." "What are you going to do?" He was already making calls, rapid Korean, that sounded like orders. "These people want war. Fine, they'll get one." "No!" Zara grabbed his arm. "That's exactly what they want. They're trying to provoke you into doing something rash. They violated your privacy. They threatened your life. That's not something I can ignore." "Then don't ignore it, but don't let anger make you stupid." Zara held his gaze. "You said you protect what's yours, then protect me by being smart, not by starting a war that'll get people killed." Tae-jin looked at her for a long moment, something like wonder in his eyes. "How are you this calm?" "I'm not. I'm terrified." Her voice shook. "But I grew up in a military family. I understand strategy, tactics. Emotion gets people killed. What we need is a plan." "We? You said I'm yours. That makes you mine, too." Zara straightened her shoulders. "So we face this together, as partners, not you protecting helpless me while I hide in your penthouse." A slow smile spread across his face. "You're extraordinary, you know that?" "I'm practical," but she felt warmth spread through her chest at his words. "Now, what's our play for tomorrow night?" They spent the next hour strategizing, planning, preparing for every possible scenario. And despite the danger, despite everything hanging in balance, Zara felt something shift between them. This wasn't just attraction anymore. This was partnership, trust, the kind of connection forged in crisis that either broke people or bound them together forever. She just had to hope they survived long enough to find out. The Lee family compound was in Gangnam, hidden behind high walls and discreet security that spoke of old money and older power. Zara sat in the back of Tae-jin's car, her palms sweating despite the cool evening air. "Last chance to change your mind," Tae-jin said, though his hand gripped hers tightly. "You can wait in the car. No one would blame you." "I'm going in." Zara's voice was steadier than she felt. "We agreed. Show strength, show unity. Let them see I'm not some weakness they can exploit." Day opened the car door from outside. "They're expecting us. 5 minutes, then we enter together." The 5 minutes felt like an eternity. Zara used the time to center herself, to remember her training. She'd worked with hostile patients before, people who didn't want help. This was just another difficult client, she told herself, just on a much larger, more dangerous scale. "You look terrified," Jae-song said from the front seat, turning to look at her. "That's good. Let them see you're human. Just don't let them see you break." "Helpful," Zara muttered. "He's right, though." Tae-jin's thumb traced circles on her palm. "These people respect strength, but they also respect honesty. Don't pretend to be something you're not. Just be yourself, the woman who stood up to me when everyone else was too afraid." The compound's main house was traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern security features. Guards flanked every entrance, their eyes tracking Zara's every movement as their group approached. Inside, the room was designed to intimidate. Long table, too many chairs, artwork that probably cost more than most people's homes. At the head of the table sat a man in his 60s, his face weathered but his eyes sharp as knives. "Kim Tae-jin?" His voice was surprisingly warm. "Thank you for accepting my invitation. And you must be Miss Thompson, the American who's caused such interesting complications." "Mr. Lee, I wasn't aware that providing medical care constituted complications." His eyebrows rose with interest. "Direct, I like that. Please, sit." The negotiation that followed was a masterclass in subtle intimidation. Lee Dong-woo spoke mostly in Korean, forcing Jae-song to translate, creating deliberate delays and opportunities for miscommunication. He questioned Zara's credentials, her intentions, her relationship with Tae-jin. "So, you're just his therapist?" Lee asked, switching to heavily accented English. "Nothing more?" "I was his therapist. I've transferred his care to a colleague to avoid any conflict of interest." "Because you're sleeping with him." The bluntness of it made Zara's cheeks heat, but she held his gaze. "Because I have feelings for him that would compromise my professional objectivity. What we do beyond that is our private business." "Not when it affects territorial balance," Lee leaned forward. "You see, Miss Thompson, in our world, everything is political. Kim Tae-jin showing weakness by caring for someone, by letting an outsider into his life, that creates opportunities for others." "I'm not a weakness," Zara said before Tae-jin could speak. "I'm a complication, yes, but weakness, no. If anything, I've made him more determined, more focused. Ask any of his associates." Something flickered in Lee's expression. Respect, maybe. "Bold words from someone whose apartment we could access whenever we wanted." Lee's smile was predatory. "From someone who's very much at our mercy." "Is that what this is about?" Zara leaned forward, ignoring Tae-jin's warning hand on her arm. "Proving you can intimidate me? Congratulations, you can. I'm terrified. I've been terrified since one of your people put a knife to my throat in an alley, but I'm still here, and I'm not leaving Seoul just because you want me to." The room went silent. Even Lee looked surprised. "You have fire. That's rare in Tae-jin's world. Most women are either too afraid or too calculating. You seem to be neither." "I'm a physical therapist from California who fell for the wrong man," Zara said simply. "I don't want territory or power or whatever political games you play. I just want to live my life and help people heal. If that makes me a problem, then I'm sorry, but I'm not leaving." Lee studied her for a long moment, then turned to Tae-jin. "You've chosen well. She's either very brave or very stupid, but at least she's honest." "What's your point?" Tae-jin's voice was cold. "What do you really want from this meeting?" "Assurance," Lee said simply. "Assurance that your attachment to this woman won't make you weak, that you'll still be the ruthless bastard I've negotiated with for the past 5 years, because if you've gone soft, that changes our arrangement." "I haven't gone soft." Tae-jin's hand found Zara's under the table and squeezed. "If anything, I'm more dangerous now, because I have something to protect." "That's what worries me." Lee stood, signaling the meeting was ending. "But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, for now. Keep your woman safe, Kim Tae-jin, and don't let her make you stupid." They left the compound in tense silence. Once in the car, Zara finally let herself shake. "That was insane. I can't believe I just argued with a crime boss about whether I'm your weakness." "You were incredible, terrifying and incredible. Do you have any idea how rare it is for someone to talk to Lee Dong-woo that way?" "Probably very rare, considering he could have me killed with a phone call." "He won't now. You earned his respect." Jae-song turned from the front seat, grinning. "I've never seen anyone shut him down like that. The look on his face when you said you weren't leaving was priceless." But Zara's triumph was short-lived. Her phone buzzed with a new message. "Brave performance, but Lee isn't your only problem. A friend." "Who keeps texting me?" Zara showed the phone to Tae-jin. His expression darkened. "Different number from the previous threats. Someone else is watching you. Someone who isn't part of the Lee family." "How many enemies do you have?" Zara asked, though part of her didn't want to know the answer. "More than I can count." His jaw clenched. "But someone targeting you specifically, using different tactics than Lee's people, that's new. Someone's playing a different game." Back at the penthouse, Tae-jin immediately went into crisis mode. He made calls, gathered his security team, pulled up surveillance footage. Zara watched him transform from the vulnerable man she'd treated to the dangerous power player he really was. "I need to tell you something," she said when they were finally alone. something I should have mentioned before. He looked up from his laptop, immediately focused. What? There's another therapist here in Seoul, Marcus Webb. We went to grad school together. He's here for a conference, and we had coffee yesterday before everything escalated. Tae-jin's expression went carefully blank. You had coffee with another man. A colleague, a friend. Zara frowned at his tone. It wasn't romantic. We were just catching up. Where did you have this coffee? A cafe in Itaewon. Why does it matter? Because I saw you. His voice was tight. I was at the hotel across the street for a meeting. I saw you laughing with him, looking relaxed and happy, looking like you belonged in a normal world with a normal man who doesn't come with death threats. Zara's breath caught. You saw us and didn't say anything? What was I supposed to say? That I was jealous of your colleague? That watching you with someone safe made me realize how much danger I'm putting you in? He stood, pacing. You should be with someone like him, someone who can take you to coffee without worrying about rival gangs, someone who won't get you killed. Stop! Zara crossed to him, forcing him to look at her. Stop deciding what I should want. Marcus is a friend, nothing more. And yes, maybe my life would be simpler with someone normal, but I don't want simple. I want you. Even knowing what it costs? Even knowing. She cupped his face. But I need you to trust me, to believe that I'm choosing you, not settling for you or being forced into this by circumstances. Something cracked in his expression. He pulled her against him, holding her like she might disappear. I'm not good at trust. In my world, trust gets you killed. Then learn. Zara pulled back to look at him. Because we can't do this if you're going to be suspicious every time I talk to another man. That's not partnership. That's possession. What if I'm a little of both? Possessive and trying to be a better partner. Then we work on it, together. She kissed him softly. But Tae-jin, I need you to believe I'm here by choice. Not obligation, not fear. Choice. That night they talked for hours about his accident 3 years ago, the driver who died, the guilt he carried, about Zara's father's stroke, her fear of failing people, her need to fix things. They shared scars, literal and metaphorical, building intimacy that had nothing to do with physical attraction. Can I ask you something? Zara said as they lay tangled together on his couch. The nerve damage, the loss of sensation, what specifically did you lose? Tae-jin was quiet for a long moment. Everything that made me feel alive, the ability to feel pleasure, to connect with someone intimately, to have a future that included normal things like marriage, children. The accident took that along with my driver's life. But you felt something during our first session, progress. I felt hope, he corrected. For the first time in 3 years, I felt like maybe I wasn't completely broken, that maybe there was a chance to be whole again. You were never broken. Zara shifted to look at him. Injured, yes. Dealing with trauma, absolutely. But not broken. Your body is healing. It just needs time. What if it doesn't heal completely? What if this is as good as it gets? Then we figure it out together. She kissed his forehead. Physical intimacy is just one part of connection. There are dozens of other ways to be close, to share pleasure, to build a life together. You'd be okay with that? With limitations? I'd be okay with you. Zara met his eyes. All of you, whatever that looks like. The vulnerability in his expression nearly broke her heart. This powerful, dangerous man was terrified she'd reject him for something he couldn't control. I'm falling in love with you, she said softly. The real you. Not who you think you should be or who you were before the accident. This version, right here, right now. That's who I want. Zara, his voice broke. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. But it's true. She kissed him gently. I'm falling in love with Kim Tae-jin. Crime boss, businessman, patient, complicated man. All of it. He kissed her then, deep and claiming, pouring 3 years of loneliness and fear and desperate hope into it. When they finally broke apart, Both were crying. "I love you," he said against her lips. "God, I love you so much it terrifies me." They made it to his bedroom somehow, leaving a trail of clothes and desperate kisses. What followed was tender and frustrated and beautiful. Tae-jin's hands mapped her body like he was memorizing her, his touch reverent despite his limitations. "I'm sorry," he gasped at one point, frustrated tears in his eyes. "I want to make this perfect for you, but I can't." "Stop," Zara pulled him down to her. "This is perfect. You're perfect. We'll figure out the rest." And they did. Slowly, patiently, learning each other's bodies and responses, finding ways to connect that worked despite his limitations. By the time they finally collapsed together, exhausted and satisfied, something fundamental had shifted between them. This wasn't just attraction anymore. This was love. Complicated, messy, dangerous love, but love nonetheless. Zara woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and Tae-jin's arm around her waist. For a moment, she let herself pretend everything was normal, that they were just two people falling in love, not targets in a dangerous game. Then her phone buzzed. "Enjoy your night together. It might be your last. The real game starts today. A friend." Zara showed the message to Tae-jin, who was instantly alert. "Who is this? Why do they keep calling themselves a friend?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." He was already making calls. An hour later, Jae-sung arrived at the penthouse with news that made Zara's blood run cold. "We identified who's been sending the messages," Jae-sung said grimly. "It's not the Lee family. It's not any of our usual rivals." "Then who?" Tae-jin demanded. "Someone from inside our own organization." Jae-sung's expression was grim. "Someone close enough to know your movements, your schedule, your vulnerabilities. Hyung, we have a traitor." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Because if someone inside Tae-jin's own organization was targeting Zara, it meant the danger was closer than they thought. It meant nowhere was truly safe. And it meant the real threat had been hiding in plain sight all along. Tae-jin's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face went white. "What?" Zara asked, fear gripping her chest. "Your colleague, Marcus Webb, he's just been found dead in his hotel room. Apparent suicide, but the police are investigating it as a possible homicide." "No, that's not possible. I just saw him 2 days ago. He was fine." They left a note. Tae-jin's hands shook as he showed her a photo on his phone. It mentions you by name, says he couldn't stand watching you throw your life away on a criminal, that he hoped his death would wake you up. Marcus wouldn't. I couldn't breathe. He wouldn't kill himself. We weren't even that close. This doesn't make sense. "It's a message," Jae-sung said quietly. "Someone's showing us they can get to people connected to Miss Zara, that no one is safe." Zara's legs gave out. She sank on the couch, her mind reeling. Marcus was dead. Someone killed him and made it look like suicide, all because he'd had coffee with her. "This is my fault," she whispered. "He's dead because of me." "No," Tae-jin knelt in front of her, gripping her hands. "He's dead because someone in my world is playing a sick game. This is on them, not you." "But if I hadn't come here, if I hadn't gotten involved with you, then someone else would have died to make a point to me eventually." His voice was fierce. "Zara, listen to me. You didn't cause this. Evil people making evil choices caused this." But the guilt still ate at her. Marcus was kind, friendly, normal. Everything Tae-jin's world wasn't, and now he was dead. "I need to go to the police," Zara said numbly. "Give a statement, tell them about the coffee, help however I can." "I'll go with you," Tae-jin said immediately. "No," Zara pulled away from him. "This is something I need to do alone. You being there will just complicate things, make them ask questions I can't answer." "I don't care about complications. I care about keeping you safe." "Then let me do this." Zara stood on shaking legs. "Let me help find whoever did this to Marcus. Please." Tae-jin looked like he wanted to argue, but finally nodded. Dae goes with you, non-negotiable. The police station was sterile and intimidating. Zara gave her statement to a detective who spoke excellent English, detailing her friendship with Marcus, their coffee meeting, the last time she'd seen him alive. She didn't mention the threats, the gang politics, any of it, just that Marcus was a colleague and friend. Did he seem depressed, anxious? The detective asked. No, he seemed happy, excited about the conference. Zara's voice broke. He talked about projects back home, about his girlfriend. He wasn't suicidal. The detective made notes, his expression sympathetic but professional. Sometimes people hide their pain well, Miss Thompson, but we're investigating all possibilities. If it wasn't suicide, we'll find out. When Zara finally left the station 2 hours later, she felt hollowed out, empty. She'd come to Seoul for a job, for adventure, not to watch people die because of her connection to a man she'd known less than a week. I want to go home, she told Dae as they walked to the car. Not to the penthouse, to my apartment. I need my things, my space. I need to think. Mr. Kim won't like that. I don't care. Zara's voice was harder than she'd ever heard it. Marcus is dead, Dae. Dead because someone wanted to send me a message. I need time alone to process that. Dae studied her for a moment, then nodded. I'll take you, but I'm stationing guards outside your building for your safety. Fine, whatever. The apartment felt foreign after 3 days away. Zara locked the door behind her and finally let herself break down. She cried for Marcus, for the danger she'd brought into his life, for the impossibility of the situation she'd fallen into. Her phone rang. Tae-jin's name flashed on the screen. I heard you went home, he said when she answered. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. Zara's voice was raw. A man is dead, Tae-jin. Dead because someone wanted to send me a message. I know, and I'm sorry. More sorry than I can say. Sorry doesn't bring him back. Zara knew she was being unfair, but she couldn't stop. This is your world, your enemies, your politics, and Marcus paid the price. You're right, his voice was quiet. This is my world, and maybe you're right to want distance from it, from me. I didn't say that, but you're thinking it. A pause. Zara, I won't trap you. If you want out, if you want to go back to California and forget any of this happened, I'll make it happen. I'll make sure you're protected until you leave. Make sure no one comes after you. Just say the word. Zara closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. It would be so easy to say yes, to run back to her safe, normal life in California, to forget Kim Tae-jin and his dangerous world and the way he made her feel alive. But she couldn't. Despite everything, despite the threats, the fear, and Marcus's death, she couldn't walk away. I don't want out, she said finally. I want justice for Marcus, and I want to know who the hell is doing this and why. Then we find them together. The relief in his voice was palpable. I'm coming over. We need to talk about what happens next. Okay. Zara wiped her eyes. But Tae-jin, when this is over, when we've dealt with whoever's behind this, we need to have a serious conversation about whether we can actually make this work. Tae-jin arrived at her apartment 20 minutes later, looking exhausted and worried. The moment Zara opened the door, he pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only solid thing in his world. I'm sorry, he murmured against her hair, for all of it, for bringing you into this mess, for not protecting you better, for Marcus. It's not your fault. Zara pulled back to look at him, but we need to figure out who's behind this before anyone else gets hurt. They sat on her small couch, and Tae-jin pulled out his phone, showing her photographs and documents. We've been investigating everyone in my inner circle. Anyone who would have access to my schedule, know about you, have the resources to orchestrate something like this. And? 3 possibilities. He swipes through images. First, my uncle. He's always resented my father passing leadership to me instead of him. He has connections, resources, motive to destabilize my position. Would he kill an innocent person just to make a point? In a heartbeat. Tae-jin's expression was grim. Second option, one of my lieutenants, Park Min-ho. He's been pushing for more aggressive expansion into territories I've deemed too risky. Could be trying to prove I've gone soft. And the third? Tae-jin hesitated. Someone from your world. Another therapist, maybe. Someone who sees me as a patient they want to protect from yourself. Zara thought about the therapist she'd met in Seoul, the medical community she'd joined. That seems like a stretch. We're healers, not killers. People are capable of terrible things when they think they're protecting someone. He set down his phone. But there's another angle we need to consider. What if this isn't about me at all? What if someone is targeting you specifically? Why would anyone target me? I'm nobody. You're not nobody to me. His hand found hers. And maybe that's enough. Maybe someone sees hurting you as the best way to hurt me. Before Zara could respond, her phone buzzed with another message from the mysterious friend. Getting warmer, but you're looking in the wrong direction. The answer is closer than you think. Check your email. A friend. Zara opened her email with shaking hands. There was a new message from an unknown sender with a video attachment. She clicked play, and her blood turned to ice. The video showed the interior of Tae-jin's penthouse, their penthouse. Someone had been inside, filming while they slept, capturing intimate moments, private conversations. The camera lingered on Zara's face as she slept curled against Tae-jin, then panned to show him holding her, vulnerable and unguarded. "How is this possible?" Zara whispered. "Your security is supposed to be impenetrable." Tae-jin's face had gone white with rage. "Someone on my team, someone I trust enough to have access to my home." He was already dialing, barking orders in Korean. Within minutes, Jae-sung arrived with Dae and 2 other security personnel. Tae-jin played the video and the room went silent. "That's from the internal security system," Dae said, his expression horrified. "Someone accessed our own cameras and compiled this footage. They have our security codes, our network access, everything." "Who has that level of clearance?" Tae-jin's voice was deadly quiet. "Only family and senior security staff." Dae looked physically ill. "Hyung, I'm so sorry. This is my failure. I'll find who did this." "Damn right you will." Tae-jin stood, pacing like a caged predator. "I want everyone investigated. Background checks, financial records, communications. Everyone. No exceptions." "Including me?" Jae-sung asked quietly. Tae-jin looked at his brother and Zara saw the pain in his eyes. "Including you. If I start making exceptions, the real traitor stays hidden." Jae-sung understood. Nodded. "I'll cooperate fully. Whatever you need." After the others left, Tae-jin and Zara sat in heavy silence. The violation of having their private moments recorded, watched, and weaponized against them was almost worse than the physical threats. "We can't stay here," Tae-jin said finally. "Your apartment isn't safe. The penthouse isn't safe. We need somewhere no one knows about." "Where?" "I have a property outside Seoul, a house in the mountains that's registered under a shell company. Only my mother knows about it. We can go there, regroup, figure out our next move." Zara nodded, too numb to argue. "What about my work, my clients?" "Cancel everything for the next week. Tell them you have a family emergency." He cupped her face gently. "I know this is asking a lot. I know you're sacrificing your career, your safety, everything. If you want to walk away, I'll understand." "Stop giving me outs." Zara covered his hands with hers. "I'm in this. Scared and angry and traumatized, yes, but I'm in this. We find whoever's doing this, we stop them, and then we figure out if we have a future. Together." They packed quickly, taking only essentials. Dae drove them out of Seoul as night fell, taking a winding route through the mountains. The safe house was isolated, surrounded by forest, with security measures that were invisible but effective. Inside, it was surprisingly cozy, modern but warm, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the valley below. A fire was already burning in the fireplace, and the kitchen was stocked with supplies. "My mother must have called ahead," Tae-jin said, looking around. "She's the only one who knows about this place." Can we trust her? With my life, with yours. I've made sure of that. That night, they tried to pretend everything was normal. They cooked dinner together, something simple and comforting. They talked about inconsequential things, avoiding the elephant in the room. But when they finally went to bed, the weight of everything crashed down. I keep seeing Marcus's face, remembering the last thing he said to me. He was joking about how I was living dangerously, dating a mysterious Korean client. If only he knew how right he was. It should have been me. Tae-jin's voice was rough. If someone had to die to send a message, it should have been me, not an innocent man. Don't say that, Zara said, turning to face him. Don't you dare say that. It's true. My life for his. That would be fair. Life isn't fair, and you dying wouldn't bring him back. Zara's hand pressed against his chest, feeling his heartbeat. It would just destroy me along with everyone else who cares about you. Sometimes I think you'd be better off if I had died in that accident 3 years ago. His eyes glistened. At least then I wouldn't be dragging people down with me. Stop. Zara kissed him fiercely. Stop talking like you're poison. You're not. You're a man dealing with impossible circumstances, trying to protect people while navigating a world that demands ruthlessness. That's not poison. That's being human. He kissed her back desperately, and what followed was intense and emotional. They made love like they were trying to prove something to each other, to themselves, that they were alive, that they mattered, and what they had was worth fighting for. Afterwards, tangled together and exhausted, Tae-jin finally spoke. The specialist in New York, the one who said she could help restore full sensation, I've decided to have the surgery. When? As soon as possible, after we deal with this situation. He traced her face with his fingertips. I want to be whole for you, to be able to feel everything the way I'm supposed to give you the kind of physical connection you deserve. I don't need you to be different than you are. I know, but I need it for me. His expression was vulnerable. These past few days, being with you, making love to you even with my limitations, it's been incredible, but I want more. I want to feel everything, every touch, every sensation, every moment of connection. Then we'll make it happen. Zara kissed him softly. After we survive this, after we find whoever is doing this, then you get your surgery and I'll be there for every step of recovery. Promise? Promise. They fell asleep wrapped around each other, and for a few hours, the world's dangers felt far away. Zara woke to her phone buzzing incessantly. Dawn light filtered through the windows, and Tae-jin's side of the bed was empty. She grabbed her phone, seeing multiple missed calls from an unknown number. Before she could check the voicemails, the phone rang again. This time, she answered. Miss Thompson? The voice was female, older, speaking careful English. My name is Kim Tae-jin. I'm Tae-jin's mother. We need to talk. Immediately. About what? About who's trying to kill you. About the traitor in my son's organization. About the fact that you're in more danger than you realize. A pause. I'm back at the safe house. I'm downstairs. Come alone. The line went dead. Zara dressed quickly and crept downstairs, finding an elegant woman in her 50s sitting at the kitchen table, drinking tea. She had Tae-jin's eyes, sharp and assessing. Miss Thompson, please, sit. She gestured to the chair across from her. My son is outside checking the perimeter. We have a few minutes to talk privately. About what? About the truth he hasn't told you. Haewon set down her teacup. About why someone is really targeting you and what it has to do with his accident 3 years ago. Zara's heart hammered. I'm listening. The accident that took Tae-jin's sensation, that killed his driver. It wasn't an accident. Haewon's expression was grim. It was an assassination attempt. Someone tried to kill my son, and when they failed, they've spent 3 years waiting for another opportunity. Why didn't he tell me? Because the person who ordered the hit was never found. We've been investigating for 3 years with no leads, no evidence, until you showed up. Haewon leaned forward. The moment Tae-jin started showing interest in you, the moment you became important to him, the attacks started again. Don't you see? Whoever tried to kill him before is using you to finish the job. Zara felt sick. So I'm not the target, I'm the weapon. Precisely. They want Tae-jin distracted, emotional, vulnerable. They want him making mistakes trying to protect you, and when he's weak enough, exposed enough, they'll strike. Haewon's eyes were sympathetic. I'm sorry, dear, but you being in his life puts him in more danger than he's been in since the accident. Then what am I supposed to do? Leave? Let them win? I don't know. Haewon stood, moving to the window. But I know my son. He'll sacrifice everything to keep you safe, even his own life. The question is, can you live with that? Can you watch him destroy himself trying to protect you? Before Zara could answer, the door opened and Tae-jin walked in. He froze, seeing his mother and Zara together. Mother, what are you doing here? Telling her the truth you should have told her from the beginning. About the assassination attempt, about the real reason someone's targeting her. Tae-jin's jaw clenched. That's not confirmed. It's the only explanation that makes sense. Haewon moved toward the door. I'm your son, and I love you, but I won't watch you get killed because you're too stubborn to see what's right in front of you. Either you figure out who tried to kill you 3 years ago, or you let Miss Thompson go before she becomes your death sentence. She left, closing the door firmly behind her. Silence filled the space she'd vacated. Zara looked at Tae-jin, seeing the guilt and fear in his eyes. Is it true? The accident was an assassination attempt? We suspected it, could never prove it. He ran a hand through his hair. The driver who died was my closest friend, my most trusted guard. His brakes failed on a rainy night on a dangerous road, but the mechanics found evidence of tampering. Someone cut the brake line. And you think whoever did it is back, using me to get to you? I don't know. Maybe. But Zara, whether it's connected or not, you're still in danger, real, immediate danger. And my mother's right. I would sacrifice everything to keep you safe. My life, my organization, everything. I don't want that. Zara stood, putting distance between them. I don't want to be the reason you die. I don't want that responsibility. Then what do you want? I want the truth, all of it. Zara's voice shook. No more secrets, no more protecting me from information I need. If we're doing this, if we're really in this together, then I need to know everything. Tae-jin studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, no more secrets. He spent the next hour telling her everything, about the months before the accident, when he'd been consolidating power, making enemies, threatening the status quo. About his friend, Jinho, the driver, who'd been more like a brother, who died instantly while Tae-jin survived with his injuries. About the investigation that had gone nowhere, the suspicions that had led to dead ends. We had a list of suspects, people who wanted me dead, who'd benefit from my death, but we couldn't prove anything. Eventually, we had to assume it was a professional hit that covered its tracks too well. What about your uncle? You said he resented your father passing leadership to you. He was at the top of the list, but he had an alibi for that night, witnesses who placed him in Busan when the accident happened, and no evidence connected him to anyone who could have tampered with the car. Could he have hired someone? Possibly, but proving it 3 years later with no new evidence? Tae-jin shook his head. It's why we stopped actively investigating. We were chasing shadows. Zara processed this, her mind working through possibilities. What if the new attacks aren't about finishing what they started? What if they're about something else entirely? What if someone new sees you vulnerable because of your injury, and they're using me to exploit that vulnerability? That's what Lee Dong-woo implied, that caring about you makes me weak. But what if it's someone closer? Zara paced, thinking out loud. Someone who knows you well enough to know that threatening me would make you emotional, distracted. Someone with access to your security systems, your schedule, your private life. You're describing someone in my inner circle. Exactly. And your mother said the driver who died was your closest friend. What if someone was jealous of that relationship or resented his influence over you? Tae-jin went very still. Are you suggesting someone killed Jinho specifically, that I was collateral damage, not the target? It's a theory, Zara sat beside him. Think about it. Jinho dies, you survive, but you're injured and traumatized. For 3 years, you withdraw from your organization, from life. That creates a power vacuum, opportunities for others to advance. Then I show up, and suddenly you're engaged again, focused, alive. That threatens someone's position. So they target you to push me back into isolation. Tae-jin's expression was thoughtful. It's possible, but who benefits most from my withdrawal? They spent hours going through names, connections, possibilities. By the time the sun was setting again, they had a short list of 5 people who had both motive and opportunity. We need to draw them out, force their hand somehow. How? By making them think they're winning. His expression turned calculating. We stage a fight, a very public, very dramatic breakup. You go back to California, loudly telling everyone that you can't handle my world. I spiral, become distracted, vulnerable. Whoever's behind this will make a move. You want to use me as bait. You want us to control the narrative instead of reacting to it. He took her hands. But Zara, only if you're willing. It's dangerous, and it requires you to trust that I'll keep you safe, even when we're pretending to be apart. Zara thought about Marcus, about the threats, about the video of them sleeping, about the fact that someone was still out there, watching, planning their next move. Okay, she said finally, let's do it. Let's end this. They spent the next 2 days planning every detail. The fight would happen at a public restaurant where they knew they'd be seen. Zara would book a flight back to California, make it public on social media. Tae-jin would be visibly devastated, throwing himself into work with reckless abandon. But secretly, Zara would stay in Seoul, hidden in a different safe house with Dae protecting her. They'd monitor communications, watch for anyone making moves against Tae-jin or trying to contact Zara. What if it doesn't work? Zara asked the night before they were supposed to execute the plan. What if whoever's behind this doesn't take the bait? Then we try something else. Tae-jin pulled her close. But Zara, I need you to promise me something. If this goes wrong, if I tell you to run, you run. Don't look back. Don't try to save me. Just get on a plane and go home. I'm not leaving you. Promise me. His grip tightened. I can handle anything except you getting hurt. Promise me you'll run if I tell you to. Zara wanted to argue, but she saw the fear in his eyes, the genuine terror of losing her. I promise, but you have to promise me the same thing. No heroic sacrifices, no throwing yourself in front of bullets. We survive this together or not at all. Deal. They made love that night like it might be the last time, desperate and tender and fierce. And when morning came, they put on their armor and prepared to perform the most dangerous scene of their lives. The restaurant was expensive and exclusive, exactly the kind of place where Seoul's elite would notice a dramatic breakup. Tae-jin and Zara arrived separately, met at their table, and began their staged argument. I can't do this anymore, Zara said loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. I can't live in fear, can't watch people die because of me. This isn't love, it's a death sentence. Don't do this. Tae-jin's agony wasn't entirely fake. We can figure this out together. There's no figuring this out. Your world is violence and death, and I'm not cut out for it. Zara stood, throwing down her napkin. I'm going back to California. Lose my number. Forget you ever met me. She walked out, leaving Tae-jin looking devastated at the table. Within hours, the story was all over Seoul's gossip channels. The American therapist who'd captured Kim Tae-jin's heart had dumped him publicly, dramatically, cruelly. Now they just had to wait for the real enemy to reveal themselves. What they didn't know was that the enemy was already making their move, and the danger was closer than either of them imagined. 3 days after the staged breakup, Zara was going insane with cabin fever in the new safe house. It was smaller than the mountain property, tucked away in a quiet residential neighborhood in Sangbukdong. Dae was her constant shadow, professional and silent, while Tae-jin coordinated their operation from his office across the city. They communicated through encrypted messages only, and even those were sparse. The separation was supposed to look real, feel real, but every hour without him felt like a physical ache. Any movement? Zara asked Dae for the 100th time that day. Nothing yet. He didn't look up from his laptop monitoring various feeds. But Mr. Kim reported that his uncle requested a private meeting tomorrow. That could be significant. Zara's phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. Her heart sank as she opened it. Well played. The breakup was very convincing. But I know you're still in Seoul, still playing games. Time to raise the stakes. A friend. Attached was another video. This time it showed Tae-jin leaving his office building that morning, unaware he was being filmed. The camera zoomed in on his face, capturing his exhaustion and grief. Then the view shifted to show a sniper scope crosshair centering on his chest. Dae! Zara thrust the phone at him, her hands shaking. Dae watched the video, his expression darkening. He immediately called Tae-jin, speaking in rapid, urgent Korean. When he hung up, he looked at Zara grimly. He's going into lockdown, full security protocol. Dae was already moving around the house, checking windows and locks. Whoever sent this is escalating. They're threatening to kill him openly now. We need to do something, Zara said desperately. We can't just sit here waiting for them to make a move. That's exactly what we have to do. The plan was to draw them out, make them overconfident. Dae's voice was firm, but sympathetic. I know it's hard, but we have to trust the process. But Zara couldn't shake the image of that crosshair on Tae-jin's chest, the casual threat of violence, the message that nowhere was safe. Her phone rang. Tae-jin's name flashed on the screen, and she answered immediately. Are you okay? She asked before he could speak. I'm fine. Locked down at headquarters with full security. Zara, I need to tell you something. My uncle's meeting tomorrow, he specifically asked that I come alone, no security, to a neutral location. He said he has information about who's been threatening you. That's a trap. Obviously a trap. Probably, but it's also our first real lead. Someone's getting desperate, making mistakes. She heard him exhale slowly. I'm going to meet him. With hidden security, of course. But if he's involved, if he's the one behind everything, this could end it. Or it could get you killed. Zara's voice shook. Tae-jin, please, let someone else handle this. I can't. If I send someone else, he'll know we're on to him. It has to be me. A pause. But I need you to promise me again. If something happens, if you hear I'm dead or captured or anything, you get on the next plane to California. Dae has instructions and resources to get you out safely. Stop talking like you're going to die. He's talking like a man who's prepared for all possibilities. His voice softened. I love you, Zara. Whatever happens tomorrow, I need you to know that these past 2 weeks with you have been the most alive I've felt in 3 years. I love you too. Tears streamed down her face. Come back to me. Promise you'll come back. I promise to try. After they hung up, Zara couldn't stop crying. Dae tactfully gave her space, but she knew he was listening, watching, ready to intervene if she tried to do something reckless. That night, Zara barely slept. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow seemed threatening. She kept checking her phone, looking for messages from Tae-jin, from their mysterious tormentor, from anyone. At 3 a.m., her phone finally buzzed. Can't sleep either? I'm outside. T. Zara looked at Dae, who'd heard the notification. He checked his security feeds, then nodded. He's really outside, alone. Dae moved to the door. I'll give you privacy. Tae-jin stood on the quiet street, hands in his pockets, looking exhausted and beautiful and heartbreakingly vulnerable. The moment Zara opened the door, he pulled her into his arms. I couldn't stay away, he murmured against her hair. I know the plan requires distance, but I couldn't spend tonight without you, not before tomorrow. They went inside and Tae-jin dismissed Dae to give them privacy. Alone in the small safe house, they clung to each other like drowning people. I'm scared, Zara admitted. I'm so scared of losing you. I'm scared too, he cupped her face. But I'm more scared of living without you, of going back to the emptiness I felt before you showed up and turned my world upside down. They made love slowly, tenderly, memorizing every touch and sensation like it might be the last time. Afterward, lying tangled together, Tae-jin told her about his plans after the surgery. When I'm healed, when this is all over, I want to take you somewhere. Somewhere warm and safe where no one knows who we are. Just be normal for a while. Normal sounds nice. Zara traced patterns on his chest. Where would we go? Anywhere you want. California if you want to see your family, or somewhere neither of us has been. Start fresh, make new memories that don't involve death threats and conspiracies. I'd like that, she kissed him softly. But first, we have to survive tomorrow. We will. His arms tightened around her. I have too much to live for now to let some coward with a grudge take it away. They fell asleep wrapped around each other, stealing a few hours of peace before the storm. Zara woke alone. Tae-jin had left before dawn, leaving only a note on the pillow. Trust me, I'll come back to you. T. The day crawled by with excruciating slowness. Day monitored communications while Zara paced, unable to sit still, unable to focus on anything except the clock ticking toward Tae-jin's meeting with his uncle. At precisely 2 p.m., Day's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face went pale. What? Zara demanded. What happened? The meeting location. There's been an explosion. Mr. Kim's security team lost contact with him. We need to go, now. Zara's world tilted. Is he alive? I don't know, but we're going to find out. The drive through Seoul was a blur of sirens and flashing lights. Emergency vehicles converged on a small restaurant in Itaewon, smoke billowing from the shattered windows. Day parked illegally, and they ran toward the chaos. Police were setting up barriers, keeping crowds back. Day flashed credentials that got them through the first line, but an officer stopped them before they could get closer. No civilians. This is an active crime scene. My brother was inside, Zara lied, her voice desperate. Please, I need to know if he's alive. The officer's expression softened slightly. Several people were injured in the blast. They've been taken to Seoul National Hospital. Check there. Day pulled her back to the car before she could argue further. The hospital. We'll find him there. But as they drove, Day's phone rang again. This time, when he answered, his expression shifted from fear to confusion. What do you mean he wasn't there? Day spoke in Korean, then English for Zara's benefit. Then where is he? He hung up and looked at Zara grimly. Mr. Kim never went to the meeting. He sent a decoy team to the restaurant while he went somewhere else. He's alive, but no one knows where he is. Relief and fury warred in Zara's chest. He lied to me. He had to. If our communications are compromised, if someone's listening, they needed to believe I was at that restaurant. The explosion was meant for me. Who was in the restaurant? Zara's voice was hollow. Who died in your place?
Decoys. Mannequins dressed as people, positioned to look like a meeting was happening. Jae-sang stepped forward. No one died, but the bomb was real and it was powerful. If Tae-jin had been there, he wouldn't have survived. Haewon moved to Zara, her expression sympathetic. My son deceived you to protect you, Miss Thompson, but the deception worked. The bomber revealed himself. Who? Zara demanded. Park Min-ho. Tae-jin's voice was cold. One of my lieutenants. The security footage from the restaurant shows him planting the device hours before the scheduled meeting. He's been arrested. But why? What did he gain from trying to kill you? That's what we're about to find out. Tae-jin gestured to a door at the back of the room. He's being held in the basement. I need you to stay here while I question him. No, Zara moved toward him. I'm coming with you. This whole nightmare started because of me. I deserve to hear why. Tae-jin, she's right. Haewon's voice was firm. Miss Thompson has earned the right to answers. Let her come. The basement was converted into a holding area, professional and clean, but unmistakably a cell. Park Min-ho sat handcuffed to a chair, his face bruised from his arrest. He looked up when they entered, and something ugly crossed his expression. So the American is still here, he said in accented English. I thought the breakup was real. Tae-jin always was a good actor. Why? Tae-jin's voice was deadly quiet. Why try to kill me? What did I ever do to you except give you power, opportunity, wealth? You stopped being worth following. Min-ho spat blood onto the floor. 3 years ago, you were strong, ruthless, a leader worth serving. Then the accident broke you. You withdrew, became weak, let others make decisions while you hid in your penthouse, feeling sorry for yourself. So you tried to kill me.
I tried to free the organization from weak leadership. Minho's eyes were cold. But you survived, and instead of stepping aside, you clung to power while doing nothing with it. For 3 years, I waited for you to either recover or die. Then she showed up. His gaze cut to Zara with pure hatred. Suddenly, you were engaged again, making decisions, showing strength. I thought you were finally healing, but then I realized the truth. You weren't strong. You were just distracted by some American whore who made you feel like a man again. Tae-jin moved so fast, Zara barely saw it. He had Minho by the throat, lifting him and the chair off the ground. Careful what you say next, Tae-jin said softly. I'm not feeling particularly merciful. Prove my point, Minho gasped. Emotional, irrational, weak. Zara stepped forward, placing a hand on Tae-jin's arm. Let him talk. Let him confess everything. Tae-jin released Minho slowly, stepping back but keeping his eyes locked on the man. The original accident, 3 years ago, was that you too? Minho laughed, the sound bitter. That was my masterpiece. I cut the brake lines myself, chose the perfect night, the perfect curve. I even calculated which curve would be most deadly. Your friend Jinho dying was unfortunate but acceptable collateral damage. You killed an innocent man, Tae-jin's voice shook. My best friend. For what? Ambition? For the good of the organization. Jinho was too loyal to you, too influential. He would never have supported new leadership. So he had to go. Minho met Tae-jin's eyes. And you were supposed to die with him. The fact that you survived was just bad luck, my bad luck. So you waited, Zara said, understanding dawning. You waited 3 years for another opportunity, and when Tae-jin started recovering because of me, you decided to use me against him. Exactly. Threaten the girl, make him emotional and careless, kill some random American to show you weren't safe, send the videos and messages to make him paranoid, unable to trust his own security, drive a wedge between you two so he'd be isolated and vulnerable. The messages signed a friend, Zara continued, the invasion of privacy, the psychological torture, that was all you. I had help, Minho smiled cruelly. You'd be surprised how many people in this organization resent Tae-jin's leadership, how many were willing to feed me information, access codes, anything I needed. Names, Tae-jin demanded. Give me names and I might let you live long enough to see trial. Why would I give you anything? Minho leaned back in his chair as much as his restraints allowed. I've lost. You've won. Just kill me and get it over with. Death would be too easy. Tae-jin pulled out his phone. I'm turning you over to the police. You'll stand trial for murder, attempted murder, conspiracy. You'll spend the rest of your life in prison thinking about how you threw everything away for nothing. For nothing? Minho's eyes blazed. I almost succeeded. Another few days and you would have been dead. The organization would have been mine. But you didn't succeed. Zara moved closer, looking down at the man who terrorized her, killed Marcus, tried to destroy everything. You failed, and now everyone will know you as the coward who couldn't beat Tae-jin Kim even when he was at his weakest. Something in Minho's expression cracked. The bravado faded, leaving only bitter defeat. Police arrived within an hour to take Minho into custody. As they led him away, he looked back at Tae-jin one final time. This isn't over, he said. I had allies, people in my organization who wanted you gone. You've won this battle, but the war is over, Tae-jin interrupted, because I'm done playing by the old rules, done letting people like you poison my organization from within. Everything changes now. After Minho was gone, the estate fell into heavy silence. Haewon dismissed everyone, leaving Tae-jin and Zara alone in the sitting room. It's over, Zara said, but it felt surreal. It's actually over. The immediate threat, yes, Tae-jin said, pulling her into his arms. But Minho was right about one thing. He had allies, people in my organization who supported his coup. I need to root them out, rebuild from the ground. How long will that take? Months, maybe longer. He pulled back to look at her. Which brings us to the question we've been avoiding. What happens now, between us? Zara had been thinking about this constantly, about what it meant to love someone from Tae-jin's world, to build a life in the shadows of violence and danger. I can't stay in Seoul slowly, not permanently. My career, my family, my whole life is in California. He saw the pain flash across his face, but he nodded. I understand. But, she continued, I'm not ready to give up on us either, so maybe we figure something in between. I finish my contract here, help transition your care to another therapist, you have your surgery, and I stay for the recovery. That gives us time to see if this is real or just adrenaline and proximity. It's real, his voice was certain, but I understand needing time to be sure. And after that, Zara took his hands, after you've healed and dealt with your organization and I've figured out my career, maybe we try long distance, visit each other, take things slow, see if what we have can survive normal life. I hate that plan. Tae-jin's smile was rueful. But it's better than losing you completely. You're not losing me. You're just not getting to keep me locked in your penthouse forever. She kissed him softly. I love you, Tae-jin. I'm in love with you. But I need time to figure out how to build a life that includes you without losing myself in the process. Take all the time you need. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I'll wait. However long it takes, I'll wait. They stayed at the estate that night, holding each other as the reality of their survival sank in. Minho was in custody. The immediate threat was over. They had time now. Time to heal, to plan, to figure out how to make the impossible work. But as Zara drifted off to sleep in Tae-jin's arms, her phone buzzed one final time. She almost ignored it, almost let herself believe the nightmare was truly over. But something made her check. Well done stopping Minho, but he was just the beginning. The real game starts now. See you soon, Zara. A friend. The message was followed by a photo, not of her or Tae-jin, but of her parents' house in California, her childhood home, with her mother visible through the kitchen window, completely unaware she was being photographed. Zara's blood turned to ice. This wasn't over. It had never been over. Someone else was playing a deeper game, and they'd just made it personal in a way that changed everything. She showed the message to Tae-jin, who went white with fury. No, he said flatly, they don't get to threaten your family. That crosses a line even my world doesn't cross. What do we do? We fight back. His eyes were hard as diamonds. No more defense, no more waiting. We find whoever's behind this and we end it. Permanently. Zara looked at the photo of her mother, peaceful and unaware of the danger stalking her family. Something inside her shifted, hardened. She'd come to Seoul as a therapist, a healer, but maybe it was time to be something else, a fighter, a warrior, whatever it took to protect the people she loved. Then let's finish this, she said, once and for all.
Within 2 hours, Tae-jin had mobilized everything. His security team poured into the estate, setting up command centers and communication systems. Hae-won made calls to contacts in California, arranging protection for Zara's parents without alarming them. Jae-sung coordinated with international resources to trace the message's origin. But it was Zara who made the hardest call. "Mom?" Her voice shook as her mother's face appeared on the video call. "I need you and Dad to do something for me without asking questions." Sarah Thompson's smile faded immediately. "Honey, what's wrong? You sound terrified." "I am terrified, but I need you to trust me." Zara took a deep breath. "There are some men coming to the house. They're going to ask you and Dad to go with them to a safe location for a few days. Please, just go. Don't argue. Don't ask why. Just go." "Zara, you're scaring me." "I know, and I'm sorry, but I'm in Seoul dealing with something dangerous, and I need to know you're both safe. Please, Mom, for me." Her father appeared in the frame, his military bearing immediately alert. "What kind of danger, sweetheart?" "The kind that involves people I've gotten on the wrong side of." Zara swallowed hard.
Dad, I know you trained me to handle threats, to stay calm in crisis. I'm doing that, but I need backup for you and Mom, just in case. Richard Thompson studied his daughter through the screen, and Zara saw the moment he understood. This is serious. Very serious. Okay. Her father's voice was firm. We'll go with your security team, but Zara, you call us every day, and when this is over, you come home and explain everything. Understood? Understood. I love you both. We love you too, baby. Her mother was crying now. Please be careful. After the call ended, Zara let herself break down. Tae-jin held her while she sobbed, his own fury radiating like heat. They're targeting your family to get to you, which means they know you're my weakness. His jaw was clenched. Whoever this is, they're not from my world. No one in Seoul's underground would cross that line. Family is sacred, even among enemies. Then who? Zara pulled back, wiping her eyes. Who's playing this game? Jae-sung entered the room, his expression grim. We traced the message. It originated from an encrypted server, but we managed to crack part of the routing. Hyung, you need to see this. He showed them his laptop screen. The trace led back to a network hub in Seoul, but the final connection point made Zara's blood run cold. Genesis Medical Center, her workplace. Someone at the hospital? Zara felt sick. One of my colleagues? Or someone with access to the facility? Tae-jin studied the data. The message was sent from a terminal in the administrative offices. That's where they keep employee records, patient files, everything. My contract, my emergency contacts, my parents' address. Zara stood abruptly. It's all in my employment file. Someone accessed my personal information. Who has that level of access? Jae-sung asked. Zara's mind raced through the hospital's hierarchy. Senior administrators, HR department, medical directors, maybe a dozen people total. Then we investigate all of them. Tae-jin was already making calls, starting now. The investigation moved quickly. By morning, they had a list of everyone who'd accessed Zara's file in the past month. Most were routine checks related to her work schedule or payroll, but one access stood out. Dr. Han Ji-woo, the hospital's chief of rehabilitation services, Zara's direct supervisor. I don't understand, Zara said, staring at his name. Dr. Han has been nothing but supportive. He's the one who approved my contract, who's been mentoring me. Why would he want to hurt me? Let's ask him. Tae-jin's expression was dangerous. My men are bringing him here now. You kidnapped my boss? I invited him forcefully. Tae-jin's smile was cold. There's a difference. Dr. Han arrived an hour later, escorted by Dae, and looking terrified. He was in his 50s, distinguished and well-respected in Seoul's medical community. Seeing him flanked by security guards in Haewon's estate was surreal. Miss Thompson, Dr. Han's English was impeccable, his confusion genuine. What's going on? These men said it was urgent, that you were in danger. Sit down, Dr. Han. Tae-jin gestured to a chair, his voice pleasant but his eyes cold. We have some questions about why you've been accessing Ms. Thompson's confidential employee files. Dr. Han paled. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie. Jae-sung pulled up the access logs on his laptop. Your credentials were used to view Ms. Thompson's complete file 3 days ago, including her emergency contacts and family information. That's impossible. I haven't accessed any files in weeks. Dr. Han looked genuinely confused. Someone must have used my credentials without permission. Or you're lying. Tae-jin moved closer, menacing. You accessed her file, sent the information to someone, maybe even sent the threatening messages yourself. Why? What's your connection to Park Min-ho? Who? Dr. Han's confusion seemed real. I don't know that name. Please, I'm a doctor. I don't understand what's happening. Zara studied her supervisor carefully. She'd worked with him for weeks, learned his tells, his mannerisms. He looked genuinely terrified and confused, not guilty. Tae-jin, I don't think it's him, Zara said quietly. Someone used his credentials, Tae-jin argued, which means someone hacked his account or stole his password. Zara turned to Dr. Han. Who has access to your office, your computer? My assistant, Jung Mi-young, she handles scheduling, file management, everything administrative. Dr. Han's eyes widened. You think Mi-young did this? Where is she now? Jae-sung was already typing. I don't know. She called in sick today, which is unusual. Mi-young never misses work. I can try calling her. Do it, Tae-jin ordered. Dr. Han called, but it went straight to voicemail. He tried again with the same result. She's not answering. Get me her address, Tae-jin told Jae-sung, and her full background, everything. While Jae-sung was working, Dr. Han explained that Jung Mi-young had been his assistant for 2 years. She was efficient, quiet, kept to herself. He knew little about her personal life beyond the basic facts in her employment file. Here, Jae-sung turned his laptop around. Jung Mi-young, age 27, hired 2 years ago. Before that, she worked at various medical facilities around Seoul. But here's what's interesting. Her previous position was at a clinic that provided medical care for organized crime families. The clinic was shut down 3 years ago after allegations of illegal activity. What kind of illegal activity? Zara asked. Money laundering, falsifying medical records, providing care to wanted criminals. Jae-sung scrolled through more information. The clinic's owner was arrested and convicted. Most of the staff scattered to other jobs. 3 years ago, Tae-jin repeated, around the same time as my accident. Could be coincidence, Jae-sung said, but his tone suggested he didn't believe it. Or she's been planted at the hospital all this time, waiting for the right opportunity to strike. But why target me specifically? Zara asked. I didn't even know Tae-jin 3 years ago. Because you represented an opportunity, Hae-won entered, having been listening from the doorway. Think about it. Mi-young works in administration, sees all the patient assignments. When Tae-jin's mother hired you specifically to treat him, Mi-young would have known. She could have seen an opportunity to get close to him through you. But working with Min-ho, that doesn't make sense. Why help someone else try to kill Tae-jin? Maybe she wasn't working with Min-ho. Maybe she was using him. Tae-jin pulled up more information on his phone. What if Mi-young is the real mastermind? She helped Min-ho with his plans, fed him information, but kept herself in the shadows. When Min-ho failed and was captured, she was still free to continue. Continue what? Zara asked. What's her endgame?
That's what we're going to find out. Tae-jin stood. Jae-sung, send teams to her apartment and any known associates. Dae, increase security on Miss Thompson's parents. If Mi-young is escalating to threatening family members, she's desperate. I'm coming with you, Zara said immediately. Absolutely not. She's obsessed with me, with us. She's been watching me, studying me, violating my privacy for weeks. Zara's voice was steel. I deserved to look her in the eye and ask her why. Tae-jin started to argue, then stopped. He saw something in Zara's expression that made him reconsider. Fine, but you stay behind me at all times. Any hint of danger, you get out. Agreed? Agreed. Jung Mi-young's apartment was in a modest building in Mappo-gu, unremarkable and easily overlooked. Tae-jin's team surrounded the building while he, Zara, and Dae approached the door. It was unlocked, a bad sign. Inside, the apartment was sparse and obsessively organized, but it was the walls that made Zara's blood run cold. Every surface was covered with photographs, newspaper clippings, documents, all about Tae-jin. Photos of him before the accident, young and powerful and ruthless, articles about the crash that had injured him, medical records that should have been confidential, and newer photos taken over the past few weeks showing Tae-jin and Zara together, laughing, holding hands, kissing in the garden. This is a shrine, Zara whispered. She's obsessed with you. But Tae-jin was focused on something else, a section of the wall dedicated to older photos, yellowed with age. A young woman standing next to a young man who looked vaguely familiar. In every photo, she gazed at him with obvious adoration, while he barely seemed to notice she existed. That's Jin-ho, Tae-jin said hoarsely, recognizing his dead friend. My driver, who died in the accident. Zara looked closer at the woman in the photos, younger, with different hair, but unmistakably Jung Mi-young. She knew him, Zara said. She was in love with him.
More photos showed the progression of their relationship, or rather, Mi Young's one-sided obsession. Jin-ho laughing with friends, working as Tae-jin's driver, always with Mi Young somewhere in the background watching. Then the photo stopped abruptly. The next clipping was Jin-ho's obituary. She blames you, Zara realized. She thinks Jin-ho died because of you, because he was protecting you. Where is she now? Tae-jin pulled out his phone. Jae-sung, run Jung Mi Young's credit cards, bank accounts, anything. Find out where she went. While Jae-sung worked, Zara explored the rest of the apartment. In the bedroom, she found a laptop still open. The screen showed email exchanges between Mi Young and Park Min-ho, confirming that she'd been feeding him information, helping coordinate the attacks. But the most recent email wasn't to Min-ho. It was a draft, unsent, addressed to Tae-jin. By the time you read this, it will be over. You took everything from me. You took Jin-ho, the only person who ever mattered. You lived while he died protecting you, and then you had the audacity to move on, to find happiness with someone else while Jin-ho lies in the ground? I can't let that stand. If I can't have him back, you don't get to be happy either. You don't get her. No one gets happiness until Jin-ho's death is avenged. See you soon, Kim Tae-jin. It's time we settled this properly. She's coming for us, Zara said, showing Tae-jin the email. She's going to make a move tonight. Then we'll be ready. Tae-jin's expression was grim. We end this now. They returned to the estate, turning it into a fortress. Every entrance was guarded, every window monitored. Tae-jin wanted Zara in the most secure room, but she refused. If she wants me, let her come, but I'm not hiding anymore. Zara checked the weapon Day had given her, feeling its unfamiliar weight. I'm tired of being the victim. Night fell with oppressive weight. The estate was silent, except for security patrols. Tae-jin and Zara waited in the main sitting room, tense and alert. At midnight exactly, the power cut out. Emergency lighting kicked in immediately, bathing everything in red. Alarms blared, then went silent. Someone had disabled the security systems from inside. She's here, Day said into his radio. All units, eyes open. She's already inside. But how? They'd locked down every entrance, posted guards everywhere. Unless she was already here, Zara realized. She got in before we locked down. She's been waiting. A sound echoed through the halls. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, purposeful. Jung Mi Young emerged from the shadows, but she wasn't alone. She held a gun to Jae-sung's head, using him as a shield. Blood trickled from a wound on his temple. Hello, Tae-jin. Her voice was eerily calm. Hello, Zara. Thank you for making this so easy. Let him go, Tae-jin said, his own weapon trained on her. Your fight is with me, not him. My fight is with everyone who kept breathing after Jin-ho stopped. You especially. You let him die. You survived while he sacrificed everything. Jin-ho made his own choice, Tae-jin said. He was my friend, my brother. I would have died in his place if I could have. But you didn't. You lived, and then you have the audacity to fall in love, to be happy, while Jin-ho lies in the ground? I can't let that stand. If I can't have him back, you don't get her. No one gets happiness until Jin-ho's death is avenged. See you soon, Kim Tae-jin. It's time we settled this properly. Everything happened at once. Jae-sung threw himself backwards, knocking into Mi Young. Her gun went off, the shot going wild. Tae-jin lunged forward, but Mi Young was already moving, her weapon swinging toward Zara. Time slowed. Zara saw the gun barrel pointed at her chest, saw Mi Young's finger pulling the trigger, saw her own death reflected in the other woman's eyes. Then Tae-jin was there, throwing himself between them. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. Tae-jin stumbled, clutching his shoulder, blood spreading across his shirt. But he was still moving, still fighting. Day tackled Mi Young from behind, disarming her as she screamed and thrashed. No, no, this isn't how it's supposed to end. Mi Young's voice was raw with anguish. You were supposed to suffer. You were supposed to feel what I felt when Jin-ho died. Zara was already at Tae-jin's side, her medical training taking over. Let me see the wound. "I'm fine," he gasped, but he was clearly in pain. "Bullet went through. I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're shot." Zara ripped open his shirt, assessing the damage. The bullet had entered his shoulder and exited clean, missing major arteries. Painful, but not fatal if they stopped the bleeding quickly. "Call an ambulance," she ordered while applying pressure to the wound, "and someone restrain her properly before she tries something else." Mi Young had collapsed, sobbing, all her rage spent. "He was mine. Jin-ho was supposed to be mine, but he only ever saw you, Tae-jin. He only ever cared about protecting you. Even when he was dying, his last words were about you, not me, never me." "Jin-ho never knew how you felt," Tae-jin said. "He never would have wanted this. Revenge, murder, hurting innocent people, that's not what he stood for." "Then what did he die for?" Mi Young's voice broke. "If not for love, not for loyalty, then what was the point?" "He died protecting his friend. That was enough for him." Tae-jin winced as Zara tightened the pressure on his wound. "He'd hate what you've become in his name." The police arrived minutes later, taking Mi Young into custody. She went quietly, all the fight drained from her, leaving only hollow grief. The ambulance followed, paramedics taking over Zara's first aid and preparing Tae-jin for transport. As they loaded him on the gurney, Tae-jin grabbed Zara's hand. "I love you," he said, his voice weak but certain. "If I die—" "You're not dying from a shoulder wound," Zara interrupted. The tears streamed down her face. "You're going to be fine. We're both going to be fine." "Promise me something." His grip tightened. "Promise me you'll live your life even if something happens to me. Don't let fear or grief trap you. Promise." "I promise, but only if you promise to stop taking bullets for me." "Can't promise that." His smile was pained. "You're worth dying for." "Then you're an idiot." Zara kissed him gently. "But you're my idiot, so don't you dare die on me." At the hospital, Zara refused to leave his side while doctors treated his wound. The bullet had missed bone and major nerves, a miracle considering the close range. He'd need surgery to repair tissue damage, but he would make a full recovery. As dawn broke over Seoul, Zara sat beside Tae-jin's hospital bed, holding his hand while he slept off the anesthesia. It was finally over. Min-ho and Mi Young were both in custody. The threats had ended. They were safe. But safety came at a cost. Tae-jin had taken a bullet meant for her. Her parents had been terrorized and forced into hiding. Marcus had died. The trauma of the past few weeks would leave scars that might never fully heal. "Hey," Tae-jin's voice was groggy, "stop thinking so loud. I can hear you spiraling from here." "I'm not spiraling. I'm processing." "Process later. Right now, just be here with me. We survived, Zara. Against everything, we survived." "You got shot." "Superficial wound. I've had worse. And besides, now you have to take care of me during recovery. Doctor's orders." "That's not how it works." "It is now. I'm playing the wounded hero card for at least a week, maybe 2. Despite everything, Zara laughed. "You're impossible. And you love me anyway." "God help me. I really do." She kissed his forehead. "I really, really do." 2 months later, Zara stood in the departure lounge at Incheon International Airport, her boarding pass to San Francisco clutched in her hand. Around her, travelers rushed past with their own stories, their own destinations, oblivious to the woman who'd survived a nightmare in their city. "Last chance to change your mind," Tae-jin said beside her. His shoulder had healed well, only a faint scar remaining from the bullet wound. "I could have the jet ready in an hour. We could go anywhere." "I need to go home." Zara turned to face him, memorizing his features one more time. "My parents need to see I'm okay. My career needs attention. And we both need time apart to figure out if this is real or just trauma bonding." "It's real." His hand cupped her face. "I've known it's real since the moment you refused to be intimidated by me." "Maybe, but I need to know it too." Zara covered his hand with hers. "I need to know I can function without you, that I'm not dependent on your protection or your world, that I'm choosing you, not needing you." "How long?" 3 months, long enough for you to have your surgery and recover, long enough for me to rebuild my practice and reconnect with my life. She managed a shaky smile. Then we'll see. And if you decide this was just circumstantial, that you don't want a life that includes my world, then we'll deal with it honestly. Zara's voice was firm despite her breaking heart. But Tae-jin, I don't think that's going to happen. I think 3 months apart is going to feel like torture, and I think when we see each other again, we're going to know exactly what we want. He kissed her then, deep and claiming, not caring about the stares from other travelers. When they finally broke apart, both had tears in their eyes. 3 months, he said, and then I'm coming to California, and we're having a very serious conversation about our future. I'll be waiting. The flight home was long and contemplative. Zara dozed fitfully, her mind replaying everything that had happened. The first day meeting Tae-jin, the threats, the fear, Marcus's death, the final confrontation with Mi Young, Tae-jin taking a bullet meant for her. It felt like a lifetime had passed in just a few weeks. Her parents were waiting at San Francisco International Airport, and the moment Zara saw them, she broke down. All the fear and trauma she'd been holding in came pouring out as her mother held her. "You're home," Sarah Thompson whispered. "You're safe now. That's all that matters." That evening, Zara told them everything about Tae-jin, about his world, about the danger and the love, and the impossible choice she was facing. Her father listened with his military stoicism, but she saw the fear in his eyes. Her mother cried quietly, holding Zara's hand. "Do you love him?" her father asked when she finished. "Yes, more than I thought possible." "And is he worth the danger, the complications?" Richard Thompson's voice was gentle but serious. "Because, sweetheart, this isn't just about romance. This is about the life you'd be choosing, the risks you'd be taking on." "I know," Zara met his eyes. "That's why I need these 3 months, to figure out if love is enough, if I'm strong enough for that life." "You're the strongest person I know," her mother said. "But strength isn't about enduring danger. It's about knowing when to walk away, too." Over the following weeks, Zara rebuilt her life piece by piece. She resumed her practice, taking on new clients. She reconnected with friends who'd missed her. She went to therapy herself, processing the trauma of what she'd experienced. And every night, she video called Tae-jin. "How was your day?" he'd ask, and she'd tell him about her patients, her progress, the normal, mundane details of her California life. "How's the surgery prep going?" she'd counter, and he'd update her on his consultations with the New York specialist, his anxiety about the procedure, his hope for full recovery. They talked about everything, except the future. That conversation waited, heavy and inevitable. 6 weeks after Zara left Seoul, Tae-jin arrived in San Francisco. She picked him up at the airport, her heart hammering as she watched him walk through arrivals. He moved differently now, more confident, his recovery progressing well. When he saw her, his entire face lit up. He crossed the space between them and pulled her into his arms, kissing him like he'd been drowning without her. 3 months, he murmured against her lips. Worst 3 months of my life. Mine too, but we made it. They spent the first few days just being together. Zara showed him her city, her favorite places, the life she'd built. Tae-jin met her parents properly, enduring her father's intimidating questions with grace and honesty. "I know my world is dangerous. I know loving me accepts risks most people never have to consider. But I can promise you this. I will spend every day protecting your daughter, honoring her, being worthy of the gifts she's given me by choosing to love me." And what if she decides she doesn't want that life? What if she chooses safety over love? Then I'll let her go. Tae-jin's voice was steady, despite the pain in his eyes. Because loving someone means wanting what's best for them, even if that doesn't include you. On their 4th night together, Tae-jin took Zara to dinner at an exclusive restaurant overlooking the bay. The sunset painted the sky in golds and pinks as they sat across from each other, finally ready to have the conversation they'd been avoiding. I've been thinking, Tae-jin started, his hands fidgeting with his napkin, about what our future could look like if you're willing to try. I'm listening. I can't leave Seoul completely. My family, my responsibilities, they're tied to that city. But I could split my time, 6 months there, 6 months here. I have enough legitimate business interests to justify living in California part of the year. Zara's heart raced. You do that? Leave your organization for half the year? I'd do anything for you. And honestly, the distance might be good for me. Force me to delegate more, trust others, not be the center of everything. He reached across the table for her hand. Jai Sang has been taking on more responsibility. He's ready to lead when I'm not there. And what would I do during the 6 months in Seoul? Whatever you want. Continue your practice there, build an international reputation. The medical community in Seoul would be lucky to have you. His thumb traced circles on her palm. Or develop a new specialty, or teach, or anything that makes you happy. And the danger, the threats?
Min Ho and Mi Young are both in prison for life. I've cleaned house in my organization, removed everyone who showed even a hint of disloyalty, and I'm transitioning more of our operations to legitimate business. It won't be perfect, but it'll be safer. He met her eyes. I can't promise there will never be danger. That's the reality of my world. But I can promise I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe. Zara thought about this, about what he was offering. A life split between two worlds, two cultures, two versions of herself. It would be complicated, challenging, requiring constant negotiation and compromise. It would also be extraordinary. I have conditions, she said finally. Name them. First, I maintain my independence. My career, my identity, they're not absorbed into being Tae-jin's girlfriend. I'm Dr. Zara Thompson first, partner second. Agreed. I fell in love with your strength and independence. I wouldn't want you any other way. Second, we're completely honest with each other. No more secrets, no more protecting me from information I need. We're partners in everything. Absolutely. And third, Zara took a deep breath. We take it slow. No rushing into marriage or major commitments. We date properly, figure out our rhythms, make sure this can work long term before we make it permanent. Something flickered in Tae-jin's expression, but he nodded. How slow are we talking? At least a year, maybe 2, long enough to be sure. I can do that. He stood, moving around the table to kneel beside her chair. But Zara, I need you to know something. I'm already sure. I've been sure since the moment you challenged me in that therapy room. I'll wait as long as you need, but my answer is already yes to everything. Marriage, children, forever. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready. Tears streamed down Zara's face. You can't say things like that when I'm trying to be practical and cautious. Why not? It's the truth. He cups her face. I love you. I'm in love with you. And I'm going to spend however long it takes proving that this isn't just trauma or circumstance. This is real, lasting love. Zara kissed him, not caring about the other diners watching. When they finally broke apart, she was smiling through her tears. Okay, she whispered. Let's try this. Let's build something impossible together. Nothing's impossible if we want it enough. 6 months later, Zara stood in her new office at Genesis Medical Center in Seoul, looking out at the city that nearly destroyed her and instead given her everything. She'd officially relocated, splitting her time between Seoul and San Francisco, building an international practice that specialized in nerve regeneration therapy. Tae-jin's recovery had been remarkable. Full sensation had returned, and with it, a renewed appreciation for physical connection. Their relationship had deepened in ways Zara hadn't thought possible, building intimacy that went beyond the physical into true partnership. Her phone buzzed with a text from Tae-jin. Dinner at 7? I have something to ask you. Something important? Very important. Wear something nice.
That evening, Tae-jin took her back to the restaurant where they had their first session, the place where everything had started. But instead of the therapy room, they went to the rooftop garden, now transformed with candles and flowers. "What's all this?" Zara asked, though her heart was already racing. "I know we said we'd wait. I know you wanted time to be sure, to build our life slowly and carefully, and we've done that. 18 months of dating, of learning each other, of proving this is real. Tae-jin," he smiled nervously, "let me finish. You said you needed to know this was choice, not need, that you were strong enough for this life, not dependent on me. And Zara, watching you build your practice, watching you thrive in both your worlds, watching you choose me every single day, even when it's hard, I've never been more certain of anything." He dropped to one knee, pulling out a ring that caught the candlelight. "I'm not asking you to be my wife because I need you to complete me. I'm asking because you already do, because every day with you is better than any day without you, because I want to build a life, a family, a future with you." His voice shook. "Zara Thompson, will you marry me?" Zara looked down at the man who'd been a stranger, a patient, an impossible love, and now was simply hers. The man who'd taken a bullet for her, who'd crossed oceans to be with her, who'd rebuilt his entire life to make room for hers. "Yes," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, absolutely yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and stood, pulling her into a kiss that felt like coming home. Around them, Seoul glittered with possibility. "I love you," he murmured against her lips. "I love you too." Zara pulled back to look at him. "My impossible, complicated, beautiful love." "Think you can handle being married to a reformed criminal? Think you can handle being married to a woman who'll never stop challenging you?" "I'm counting on it." They stayed on that rooftop for hours, planning their future, dreaming their dreams. And when they finally left, walking through Seoul hand in hand, Zara realized something profound. She'd come to this city looking for professional adventure. She'd found danger, trauma, and fear. But she'd also found love, partnership, and a strength she didn't know she possessed. Sometimes crossing boundaries with dangerous men leads to disaster. But sometimes, rarely, miraculously, it leads to this. To love that survives bullets and threats and impossible odds. To family built from ashes. To a life more beautiful than any plan could have designed. Zara Thompson had crossed boundaries with Kim Tae-jin, and it was the most dangerous, terrifying, wonderful decision of her life. And given the chance to do it all again, knowing everything that would happen, she wouldn't change a single moment. Because this, right here, right now, was worth every risk. Every single one. Thank you so much for staying until the very end. You are absolutely incredible. If this story of Zara and Tae-jin touched your heart, if their journey from therapist and patient to partners for life resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more romance stories that will make your heart race and believe in impossible love. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what moment in their story moved you most. Your support means everything and helps us create more content about love that conquers fear, partnerships that survive danger, and connections that transform lives. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most beautiful love stories come from the most unexpected places. And the bravest thing we can do is open our hearts, even when we're terrified. Keep believing in love. Keep taking risks. Keep being brave. See you in the next story.